Do you remember in 2014 when John Stewart told you to buy Bitcoin? See, most people only remember that he compared Bitcoin to a tamagotchi, but you need to watch this whole clip. I mean, of course, John Stewart, he's going to make jokes. Of course, it's a comedy show. But if you watch this whole video, you're going to agree with me. Not only is his attitude much more open-minded to Bitcoin than you'd expect, not only is he much more open-minded than Stephen Colbert was around this time. Watch this video if you haven't yet. Link to Stephen Colbert is in the description. But really, what stands out to me the most is just how critical he is of the traditional corrupt financial system, how much more critical he is of the traditional system than he is of Bitcoin. And this is what people forget. And of course, he can't just come out and tell you, hey buddy, buy Bitcoin. But I think you'll agree, back in 2014, when the price of Bitcoin was less than $1,000, he gave it one hell of a 2014 introduction. Like the video, support the channel, check this out.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Daily Show. My name is John Stewart, and we have put together another program for you tonight that we believe is excellent. Author Kevin Roose will be here with his book, Young Money. Either about, people love it. I believe it is either about the culture of Wall Street or Lil Wayne. I think it's, they call Young Money. They told me that that's what they call Lil Wayne. I don't really know that. I'm old. Right now, I think 3 hip young interns are doing this. But in honor of Young Money, we turn to the world's youngest money. Who's a new currency? You are. Yes, you are.
Along with the dollar and the euro, there is a new kind of currency called the Bitcoin. You can't put it in your pocket. It trades only on the internet.
It only exists online. It is the tamagotchi of currency. That reminds me, I should feed mine. I got him 12 years ago, so he's 12. I wonder how he's doing. That probably... No! Oh! Are those digital maggots? He was my best friend for the 15 seconds I played with him. But is the world really ready for unpocketable money?
I believe this is a game changer. I believe that Bitcoin is as big as the internet.
I do see it as the new gold, the gold of the future.
Gold, you say? I suppose it's only a matter of time before survivalists begin to hoard Bitcoin. And there's a City Slickers 3, The Legend of Curly's Bitcoin. And rappers unveil Bitcoin grills. And then, of course, 10 years after that, Madonna gets one, too. Well, I don't see what could go wrong. Nothing's more reliable and secure than the internet.
Today, one of the biggest Bitcoin exchanges, called Mt. Gox, based in Tokyo, went bust after it was revealed that hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoins were missing.
Missing? Oh, you know what you got to do there? Here's your problem there. You know at the bottom of your screen there's got to be there's a little trash can. You know the little trash can down there? You got to check in there. Maybe you could, what do you call it there? What I do sometimes, I unplug it, I plug it back in, or why don't you try Control-Alt-Money. And by the way, what is Mt. Gox? Other than the place in a Dr. Seuss book where a fox and a drox share a home in a box. Is that Mt. Gox?
It's an acronym, MTGOX. Magic the Gathering Online Exchange. It started out as a place for people to trade magic cards.
Wait. Started out as a place to trade magic cards, so did my basement. Does that mean my basement is now a currency exchange? How did this happen? It's not like money that doesn't really exist can just disappear, right?
Do you think there's been fraud here?
I think there's a pretty strong likelihood of that. I think a lot of us...
Like I said, of course, John Stewart is going to make jokes, of course. Of course, they're going to talk about Mt. Gox. That's the reason Bitcoin was making news at the time, because of the price rally, the Mt. Gox crashed, and then the price decline. Of course. They're just going to talk about the general absurdity of magical internet money, of course. But this is usually where most commentators stop, in my opinion. What impresses me the most is actually John Stewart's next 3 minutes. This is where John Stewart transitions. So after the introduction to Bitcoin, he transitions into showing us how absurd and how corrupt the traditional financial system is. This is why John Stewart is the GOAT.
Listen, Bitcoin exchange, you got a lot to learn about being a financial player. You don't just commit brazen fraud in one fell swoop. You institutionalize and normalize systemic fraud. Which brings us to our new segment, Show Me the Money! So I can take it and put it in a place where you can no longer find it. Check out how a professionally corrupt financial institution does business.
Banking giant Credit Suisse helped thousands of wealthy Americans hide billions of dollars from the IRS overseas.
A wealthy customer hiding $250,000 in pantyhose wrapped around her body.
Swiss. Let me tell you something. A decent country, at a minimum, would make these tax dodgers at least smuggle it in their asses. Make them earn that tax-exempt status. At the very least, make them swallow a condom full of nickels. By the way, worst sequel to Fistful of Dollars ever. But, because you see, Mt. Gox, your brazen Bitcoin fraud means that you will spend your days hunted down by every international high-tech law enforcement agency known to man. Meanwhile, if you could have institutionalized your corruption, this would be the penalty you'd face.
Credit Suisse's management team regrets very deeply that despite the industry-leading compliance measures we put in place, we had some Swiss-based private bankers who appear to have violated U.S. law.
It turns out you did not want this money hidden from your tax laws. So, sorry. I have brought you multicolored swatches. Swatch for you, swatch for you. So we're good now. And once you get in and make yourself a cornerstone of the financial marketplace, there is no limit to what you may accomplish / perpetrate.
First of all, how did Goldman Sachs come to own uranium?
Go on.
Goldman itself, though, actually came into the uranium market just in 2009, where they bought a wider trading desk, which happened to own this company called Nufcor International. They're meant to be sitting on approximately 2,500 tons of yellow cake at this time.
Oh my God! Goldman Sachs is going to have a nuclear weapon before Iran. Here's how badass Goldman is now. Just the thought of them can topple a government.
The Danish centre-left coalition in power since 2011 has been plunged into its deepest political crisis by the investment from Goldman Sachs.
All they had to do was invest money in a country, and the whole country was like, "F it, we're leaving." What did Goldman invest in over there?
Protesters are angry about Goldman Sachs' $1.5 billion investment in state-owned utility Dong Energy.
Dong Energy, huh? I think they sell that at a bodega near my house. Supposedly made from real giraffe balls, but I don't know. It's unregulated. By the way, not that I didn't get results with it, but it's hardly worth $1.5 billion investment.